Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, first of all, for donating to the India COVID crisis. I am so, 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 so grateful. I know that it was like hype in the media for a while there, but it doesn't mean that it has ended. So they're still very much dealing with the pandemic. They're not necessarily going back to quote unquote normal life like we are here in Canada. So I appreciate you guys donating and also showing up to nourish your mind, body, and souls. We are obviously recording this for those who donated and they can't attend live. Just so you guys know, I will be donating $85 as of tomorrow. So that's super exciting. So thank you. So this is a hip opening practice. I thought it was very fitting. There's so much happening. I've noticed in myself like needing to release a lot of emotion. So that's what we're going to focus on today, getting into the hips, releasing emotion. So we're going to start in child's pose on our mats. And I want you to start with your knees as wide as your mat or a little bit wider than your hips. Okay. And then do your best to have your butt sitting next to your heels, near your heels. If that's unattainable, you can always get a cushion. Put a cushion under there. But otherwise, you're going to walk yourself forward. Coming into your child's pose, bringing your forehead to the mat. And begin to focus on your breath. Begin focusing on your inhales and your exhales and how they feel in your body today. Maybe this is the first time of the day that you've tuned into your breath. So let it inform you, let it guide you. Do you need to take a couple sighs out the mouth on your exhale to sink even deeper? Using your next 10 breaths to just let yourself relax. And then on your next inhale, you're going to walk your hands over towards the left side. So now your hands are going to come off your mat. We're going to begin to stretch into the right side body. Breathing and feeling the stretch down your right side body from your pinky finger all the way to your hips. And then on your next inhale, walking yourself back through center and then over to the right side or the opposite side. Stretching the left side body now. And then coming back through center, taking 2 breaths in your child's pose. And then walking yourself, coming up. We're going to come into a seated position. So you're going to sit on your mat, butt on the mat. And I'm going to sit facing you guys. I want your feet in front of you, and your feet are going to be wider than your hips here, okay? Hands behind you, and we're just going to knock our knees from side to side. We're just going to be into windshield wiper our legs. And move at whatever pace feels best for you. Just follow your breath. So your inhale should take you to one side, and then your exhale back to the other. Okay, coming back to center now. Clasp your hands together. Keep your arms about shoulder height. Now we're just gonna use the strength of our body. We're doing the same thing. We're mobilizing those hips. And as you do this, you might notice you're like shifting a bit on your mat. It helps to dig your heels in as you go from side to side. It'll help keep you a little more stable. The next time you're at your left side, I want you to stay, and we're just gonna do a gentle twist towards the left. Beautiful, coming back to center, clasp those hands to go to the other side. And then a gentle twist to the right. Beautiful, coming back to center. We're done the hip mobilization for now. We're gonna come into a tabletop position. Hands in knee pose. Check to make sure that your wrists are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. We're gonna do a couple cat-cows. So inhaling to your cow, belly will drop, gaze forward. Exhale to your cat, round your spine, really push into your hands. Feel that arch. Inhale back to cow, and I just want you to follow your own breath. Exhaling to cat, inhaling to cow. And again, you can decide, you can do these fast, you can do these slow. You can linger in one for a few breaths. Whatever feels best for your body today. And then next time we come into a rounded spine, a cat position, we're gonna do barrel rolls. So you might have done these with me already. If not, you can watch. You're gonna bring your body towards the right. And then as you come through center, you dip down through cow, pushing back through cat as you come around to the right again. Coming through cow as you go to the left. And this isn't supposed to look good, guys. This is just supposed to feel good. So if you look different than me, good. You should. Once you've done a few to the right, you can switch and do the opposite direction. Maybe making your circles, your barrel rolls a little bit bigger to really get into the joints, get into your knees and your wrists. Beautiful. Coming back to a neutral spine in your tabletop. We're gonna tuck those toes. On your exhale, lift your hips, come into your downward dog. Bend those knees. Okay, we're gonna go over down dog quickly because I always see people in down dog with their legs straight, but they're like this. This isn't down dog. Bend your knees, push into your hands, you're gonna come back. We wanna straight upper body. We want bent knees because we are technically in a forward fold. We wanna protect our hamstrings. We're gonna take 3 lion's breaths here. So breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. 2 more. Beautiful. You're gonna lift your right leg. Doesn't have to be very high because we're gonna step it through. However, you're gonna get your right foot to the front of your mat. Lower the back knee, lower your left knee. Come up to a low lunge. Before we lift our arms, I want to check in with your legs, that they're at 2 90-degree angles. And then inhale, arms overhead. This is an active posture, so we are engaging our inner thighs, we are engaging our low core, and we are smiling. Beautiful, keep breathing. And now you can bring your hands down to the mat if you want, just for support. We're gonna let our front knee, our right knee, track a little bit forward over our toes, okay? So we're coming into a low lunge now, a low runner's lunge. So just check in, bring your hands to your hips. Don't want you dumping here. I want you engaging those glutes. Protect your low back. And then you can decide, hands will come to prayer, or maybe inhale, arms overhead, interlacing your fingers, index finger points to the sky. And on our exhales, we are sinking into our hips even more. And these are micro movements, my friends, very small. On the inhale, we grow a bit taller. On the exhale, we lunge. Beautiful. Release your hands. Hands come to the mat. And I want you to inch your right foot forward. We're coming into half monkey now, half split. And you decide, maybe just staying up here, you feel a lot in this stretch. Good, stay. Maybe walk your hands a little bit more forward. And then let your head and neck go. Just hang heavy here. Doesn't matter if your back is flat or rounded. Breathe into this hamstring stretch. Beautiful. We're going to come back into down dog. We're going to get there through plank. So step back to plank. Take a breath. Exhale, push back to your downward dog. Now either you're going to take 3 breaths here, or you can grab a sip of water. Beautiful. Wherever you are, meeting in down dog, inhale to lift that left leg. Doesn't have to be high. As we step it through in between the hands, right knee comes to the mat. Coming to low lunge on the other side. Check in. Right angles. Inhale, arms overhead. Again, checking in, making sure you are engaging your inner thighs, engaging the low core, and pushing into the parts of your body that are making contact with the ground. So your foot, your left foot, your right shin, your right knee, the top of your right foot. Beautiful. We're going to come into our low runner's lunge. So bring your hands to the mat so you can gently bring that left knee a little bit over your left toe. Bring your hands to your hips. Make sure you're engaging those glutes. And then decide, hands to prayer. Or inhale. Hands come overhead, fingers interlace, index finger pointing to the sky. Just make sure your opposite thumb is wrapped now. On the inhale, we grow a little taller. Exhale, we sink a little deeper. Beautiful. Let that go. Hands come to the mat and walk that left foot forward. Coming into half monkey, half split. Staying either exactly as you are or beginning to fold forward over your leg. Let your head and neck go. Just let them hang heavy. They don't have to do any work. Beautiful. Coming back into plank pose. Getting there however you need. Taking a breath in plank. And then exhale back to our downward dog. Take 3 breaths here or grab a sip of water. Okay, feet are gonna come together. Inhale, right leg lifts, stacking the hips, so your hips are open now. And then bending that right knee, looking under your left armpit. See if you can see your foot. Say hello to your foot. And then look forward. Step that right leg through. Your right foot is coming on the outside of your right hand. We're coming into a lizard lunge. So, bring your knee down. I'm going to give you some options here. You're either going to stay exactly as you are in your lizard lunge. If you have the mobility, you can come down onto your forearms Okay? If you want this to be active, come up onto the ball of the left foot. Doesn't matter if you're on your forearms or you're on your hands. You decide. Active lizard, you can shift back and forth if you need to. Or you're in your passive lizard, focusing more on stretching than strengthening. Wherever you are though, you are breathing. Beautiful. If you are on your forearms, come back up to your hands. Meeting your left hand on the mat, inhale, right arm forward and around. So now we're looking back behind us. I want you to let go of your head and neck. So we're coming into a stretch down the right side neck and into the shoulder and the arms. Beautiful. Exhale, arm comes back down. Coming into plank pose. Take a breath. Exhale straight away back to downward dog. 3 breaths here, or take a sip of water. Okay, feet come together. Inhale, lift that left leg high to the sky, opening out the hip. Breathing. And then bending at that left knee, looking under the right armpit, seeing if you can see your foot. High foot. And then exhale, step it through, left foot on the outside of the left hand. Coming into lizard lunge on the other side. It's gonna take a bit of work. Deciding, maybe you're staying up like you did last time. Maybe you're coming onto your forearms. Maybe you're popping up on that the ball of the right foot. Making this active. Whatever you did on the other side, mirror it on this side. So if you were active on the other side, be active on this side. If you were passive on the other side, be passive on this side. But I think you should know that beautiful. And then coming up onto our hands. Waving your right hand as you inhale, your left arm goes forward and around and back. So we can drop our head and neck and begin to feel this stretch down the left side neck into the shoulder and the arm. Beautiful. Bringing that arm back around. We're stepping back into plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, shift right back to downward dog. Take a couple breaths. Okay, inhale, feet come together, lift that right leg, stacking those hips once again. This time we're coming into pigeon pose. So if pigeon is too much for you, so as we come into pigeon, our right foot comes to our left wrist, right knee comes behind the right wrist. We come down into pigeon. If this is too much, you can always do figure 4 on your back. So I'm gonna give that option, which means you're lying down and your right ankle, oh, it's about here almost, is crossing over the knee. This is gonna be the exact same stretch as pigeon, okay? So if you're doing figure 4, know you have the option to grab for underneath your thigh or your shin to take it a step further. I'm gonna do pigeon because I feel nothing in figure 4. So if you are in pigeon, checking to make sure that your left leg, the leg that's long, is directly behind your hip, your foot's in line, and then making sure you're not dumping too much to one side or the other before you walk into your sleeping pigeon. And your sleeping pigeon doesn't have to be fully on the ground. We bring the yoga practice to our bodies, not our bodies to the practice. Make it work for you, my loves. Wherever you are, pigeon or figure four, we're gonna hold this for 10 breaths, so get comfy.
Take me away from this place, safe from harm. Take me away from this place.
Okay, inhaling back up. If you are in a sleeping pigeon, coming back to your pigeon. Now we're going to transition into the other side. So if you're in a figure four, you can just come into Shavasana for 2 breaths and then switch to the other side. Otherwise, if you're in pigeon, come back to downward dog. Take 2 breaths to reset. And then the other side. So inhale, left leg lifts high to the sky. Exhale, bring it through. Left foot behind right wrist, left knee behind left wrist. Checking in as you come into your pigeon that your right leg and foot are directly behind your hip. You're not dumping too much to either side, and then you can walk forward into your sleeping pigeon. There's no rush. Always best to move slow so your body knows it's safe, not in danger. And then again, we're holding this one for 10 breaths. Okay, slowly coming up out if you were in sleeping pigeon. If you are in figure four, you could make your way back into a down dog, however is best to get there. Otherwise, we're all going to meet in down dog. Okay, coming to meet in down dog, pedaling out your dog. Maybe right foot comes to the mat while your left knee bends. Then right knee bends, left sole of the foot or left heel to the mat. Doing that a couple times. And then coming to stillness, looking forward, and either walking your feet to your hands, stepping your feet to your hands, or hopping your feet to your hands, and make sure you land very lightly if you hop. Hanging out in a forward fold, bend your knees here. Just hang out. And then slowly on your next inhale, come to stand. Arms overhead. Hands come through prayer at heart center. And then by your side, in Tadasana, in mountain pose. Take a breath. Beautiful. Grab a sip of water. Okay. Gonna meet at the top of our mat. We're coming into warrior two. So you know this position, most of you probably do. Gonna step that left foot back about 2 feet. Depends on how long your legs are. We want our left toes facing the long edge of the mat, right toes facing the short edge of the mat. Bring your hands to your hips. And then on your exhale, bend into the right knee. Coming into your warrior two. As you bend into your right knee, you're going to be able to feel if you need more space. I always do it along legs. Inhale, arms to T, shoulder height. And we're going to make sure here before we even look over, because often when we look over in a warrior two, we're tempted to lean forward. We want our torso directly over our hips. Just move your head. Gaze over the right fingertips. Really engaging your legs, keeping you stable. Maybe you're shaky, I know I am today. And then you're going to flip your right palm to face the ceiling. Now I want you to lean a little bit forward, but then lean back, coming into exalted warrior. Having your left hand on your left leg, or maybe going for a bind. Left hand to right hip crease. Making sure you're not losing the bend in your right knee. Beautiful. Let that go, come back to regular warrior two. And then shift forward, and your right elbow will come to rest on the right knee as the left arm lifts high above. Chest is open. You can look up or gaze down if you want to take a break. And then exhale, come back to warrior two. Inhale, straighten out that leg. Ooh, shake it out. Okay, now both of our toes are going to be facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So, hands on hips. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, begin to fold forward with a flat back, best you can. Bend in your knees, keep them safe. And then when you can, you put your hands, bring your hands to the mat. I just want you to let it go. Let your head and neck go. Just hang heavy here. Doesn't matter how far you can go down. We're just releasing the low back to our hips. You can decide maybe if you can reach for your ankles, you reach for your ankles. Maybe you shift a little forward to the balls of your feet and then shift back to your heels and just notice what that feels like to change weight. And then bringing your hands back to the mat. Inhale, hands to hips. Exhale, come all the way back up. Beautiful. Let's do warrior two on the other side. So left toes now face the short edge of the mat. Right toes face the long edge. Exhale to bend into that left knee. If you need to adjust your stance, that's okay. Once you feel stable, inhale, arms come to T. And then exhale, looking over the left fingertips. Remembering to breathe. And then again, now flip the left palm, lean a little bit forward as you come back into your exalted warrior. Either bringing your right hand to your right leg or in for a bind. Exhale, back to warrior two. Inhale, come forward. Left elbow rests on your left thigh as you lift your right arm high to the sky. And you can give your head and neck a break and look down if that's easier. And then exhale, coming back to warrior two. Inhale, straighten that leg. Come back to parallel, toes facing long into the mat. We're gonna fold forward again. Hands come to hips. Inhale to grow tall. Exhale, fold with the flat back, coming all the way so your hands come to the mat. But this time, you're gonna have your left hand in front of your face as we inhale to reach our right arm to the ceiling. Maybe you wanna go for a bind so that right hand comes to the left hip crease. Letting that go if you let the bind, bringing your right hand down to the ground, your mat, to inhale, left arm high to the sky. Maybe going for a bind on that side too if you did the other side. And then letting go of the bind, coming back to center, bringing your hands to your hips to inhale and come back up. Beautiful. Okay, heel toe your feet in a tiny bit because we're gonna come into goddess pose. So, toes are facing the corners of your mat. Exhale, come into your goddess, your squat. Knees are over our toes here. Now you decide, either hands stay on hips, bring your hands to prayer. Focus on your breathing here. Maybe close down the eyes. Maybe you're shaky, maybe you're wobbly, that's okay. Okay, if you had your eyes closed, open them. Because we're gonna inhale, bring our arms up and open. Exhale, bring your hands back through prayer to sink into your goddess. Okay, inhale. Exhale, goddess squat. Inhale. Exhale, this is dancing goddess. We are all dancing goddesses. 2 more. Last one, we're gonna stay. A few more breaths. Beautiful. Inhale to come back out. Okay, take a sip of water and we're gonna meet seated on our mat. Okay, coming into butterfly. So, soles of the feet come to touch. Legs are like a diamond. I want you to decide. If you practice with your feet really close to your butt, and you have like a really tiny diamond for your butterfly, go ahead. But I always suggest having a little bit of a bigger diamond, more room to work with. We're gonna begin to flutter our butterfly. Move your hips, or your knees, I guess, that would make more sense. We're just moving your hips. Okay, you don't need to flutter your butterfly anymore. We're just gonna hinge forward and you decide. I'll show you guys here. Either you're gonna make this active, so you are folding forward with a flat back as much as you can, or you're gonna make this passive and just curve over with that rounded cat spine. Let it all go. Either way, there's no need to hold on to anything in your head and neck. So let your head and neck just hang heavy. Then I'm going to give you one more option if you want to go even deeper. Make your diamond a bit bigger with your legs and then slip your arms underneath your legs if you have this mobility, okay? Your forearms will then be on the mat and your legs are kind of holding your arms down. It's just going to make the stretch even deeper, even juicier. Beautiful, slowly coming up. Okay, we're gonna come into sideways Janusirasana, sideways head to knee pose. So bring your right leg open and the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh or as close as possible. And we are just going to decide. Maybe it's your right hand in front of your right leg, or maybe it's your right forearm, depending on your mobility. As we inhale and lift our left arm high to the sky and over. Now again, head and neck don't have to do any work here. So sometimes I like to just look down. Reminds them to chill out. or you can just have your right ear hang towards your right shoulder. Maybe rolling out the wrist on the left, wiggling those left fingers, just getting into those joints. And then staying exactly as you are, except for letting that left arm reach away from the body. So now again, we're stretching down the left side neck, to the shoulder and the arm. Have your hand flexed. Maybe going for a bind if you have it in your practice. So reaching for the left hand for the right hip crease or grabbing onto your clothes. Beautiful. Let that bind go if you have it. Now use your right hand to help bring your head back to center so you don't get a head rush. We're down there for a while. Okay, we're just gonna switch and do the other side. So left leg comes long, sole of the right foot in, either side. Left hand to the mat in front of your left leg or your forearm. And then inhale, right arm high to the sky. Beginning to stretch down the right side body into the intercostal muscles like we started with. Either looking down so your head and neck have a break or bringing your left ear to your left shoulder. Rolling out the wrist on the right, wiggling those fingers, getting into the joints. And then exhale to let the right arm reach away from the body. Now stretching down the right side neck, shoulder, arm, into the hand. And then going for that bind on this side if you did the other side. Beautiful, letting that bind go, using your left hand to help bring your head back up to center. And now we're gonna come into a wide leg forward fold. So you don't have to have your legs super wide, it's whatever is available to you. We're just gonna show you guys as always. You know, you've gone too wide if you're sitting back like this, if your pelvis is a posterior tilt. We want to come forward, okay? So if that's the case, you just bring your legs in a little bit, right? Like we're not trying to do the splits here. So wherever your edge is, we're gonna make sure that we're sitting forward on our hips. And then you go to your edge. So maybe that's right here. For the longest time, this was me. I was like, ooh, I can't go any further, what you saying? But over time, your body gets used to the practice. You find your edge. And again, you decide if you want this to be active, you're imagining your back is as flat as possible, or you're just curving over with your cat-like spine and hanging out. And we're gonna stay here for 10 breaths. So stay somewhere where that feels good and comfortable for you.
Times like this, you just take it slow.
And maybe on each exhale, you can sink a little deeper into the posture.
She got my heart in a chokehold. And there she comes. Heart that pounds like a
Beautiful. Wherever you are, walking yourself back up, using your hands to bring your legs back in, maybe shaking them out a little bit. Let that go. Okay, we're gonna head on to our backs. So soles of the feet come to the mat, so your knees are bent. As you come down to the mat, we're gonna come into bridge pose a few times, okay? So checking in Making sure that your heels are as close to your butt as possible. So you can almost like tickle your heels with your fingers. And then have your palms facing down on the mat. Feel your entire spine touching the ground. So that really means that you might have to be activating your low belly to remove that space between your low back and the ground. And then on our inhale, we're gonna lift our hips high to the sky. We're engaging our glutes here, engaging our inner thighs. Staying for a couple breaths, just like this. Beautiful, and exhale, coming down slowly, hips come down last. Okay, now we've gone to bridge once, we're gonna go there again, and we're gonna take it a little further, if you want to. Inhale, hips will lift high to the sky, engaging the glutes, engaging the inner thighs, and then rolling your shoulders underneath you so you can bring your hands together in a clasp. Breathing here. If you have your hands clasped, let that go. Release the shoulders, come down, vertebrae by vertebra. Hips come down last. Beautiful. Okay, now we're gonna do some what are called moving bridges. So you might need to watch me for this. On the inhale, our hips will lift and our arms will come above our head. The tops of your hands come to the ground, and then your exhale, you come back down. Okay? Inhale, hips will lift, arms overhead. Exhale, back down. This requires a lot of mobility, guys. This is actually one of the best ways to strengthen and stretch your pelvic floor. So you're welcome. 3 more of each on your own, following your breath. If you're like me, you're probably hitting your water bottle and a bunch of stuff every time. That's okay. Beautiful. Once you've done your 3, let's stop there. Take a breath. Bring your hands, your palms to your thighs. And it's almost like you're pushing into your thighs right now with your hands to help bring your entire spine to the mat. So again, removing that space between your low back and the mat. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to be doing figure 4. So if you already did it, you're going to do it again. All good. We're just going to bring our right ankle on top of the left leg, flexing that foot, making sure your ankle has room to move here, okay, to protect your joints. Staying as is, or inhale to reach for the back of your left thigh or at the top of your shin. Let that go. Bring the sole of your left foot back to the mat. Shift your hips over to the right a little bit. So your legs can fall to the left. So that means you're in a figure 4 twist now. Okay? Bring your arms into cactus position at shoulder height. And look over the right side. And you can also bring your left hand to your low ribs or your belly. Feeling yourself breathing. Beautiful. Inhale, come back through center. Let go, let the right leg go, and then immediately come to the other side. Left leg crosses right. Grabbing for the back of the right thigh or the right shin as you breathe in your figure 4. Flexing both your feet to protect your knees here. letting that go. Soul the right foot comes to the mat. Shift your hips to the left as your legs drop to the right. Cactus your arms, shoulder height, looking over the left. Figure four on the other side, maybe bringing your right hand to your belly, your low ribs, coming back to your breath. Inhale, come back through center. Bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Maybe rock a little from side to side. Massaging the low back, massaging the sacrum. And then maybe coming into happy baby, grabbing for the outsides of your feet with your hands. Maybe rocking a bit from side to side in your happy baby, bringing a smile to your face. And then letting that go, giving yourself a final hug, forehead to knees, hug, hug, hug. And then exhale, release, coming down into your final Shavasana. Letting yourself take up space. Have your arms wide enough so your armpits can breathe. Feet are at least as wide as your mat, if not wider. And then just come back to your breath. As you guys rest in your Shavasana, I'm going to end with a sound bowl meditation. So please do not hesitate to rush. Soak in the benefits of the practice as you listen to the beautiful waves of the sound bowl. Thanking yourself with your breath for showing up this evening. And I did end with an oracle card pick for you guys, so I'm going to read it to you now. And the card that wanted to be worked with, the energy for you all, is "Into me I see." At certain precious moments, you're called into a deep and meaningful connection with the world or another person. A magical affinity arises with the kind of intimacy that in turn encourages a greater understanding of yourself. The relationship acts as a mirror, helping you see your own patterns. What it reflects about you can further your own personal evolution. Now is the time to take a risk by connecting with another. Can you see how far you've come? Can you see what is still active within you that needs to change or heal? You will discover more about who you are as you discover about another. Even if you cannot possibly know what it's truly like to be in someone else's shoes, you can listen and learn. This is a magical gift being offered to you right now. The concept applies beyond romantic connection. What do the dynamics in your closest friendships, your work relationships, and your family say about you? Relationships are extraordinary opportunities for healing. When predicted on honesty and caring, they have a great impact on how you can contribute to the world. Intimate relationships hold up a mirror of truth and reveal more treasures than you might ever expect. If you can look into it, take a risk and see everything as beautiful, even its imperfections. Imagine how deep you could go. So just letting that sink in, as well as the rest of the practice. Slowly beginning to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Let your body know you're coming back into this moment. Deepen your breath. And then on your next inhale, take a big stretch, arms overhead, feet together, stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, just let it go. Keeping your arms overhead, rolling over to your left side, using your arm as a pillow. And take a breath in your fetal position here, just thanking yourself one more time for showing up. And then best you can, using your hands to help you get to a seated position, keeping your eyes closed if you can. Bringing our hands to prayer, pranam mudra in front of your heart center. Bowing your head. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. You are all magic. Namaste.